public. Hello. Greetings to everyone. My name is Renee Wilson, and this evening I will be chairing the proceedings. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to this very special occasion as we extend Grenadian greetings to the esteemed President of Concacaf, Mr. Victor Montagliani, and his delegation. We are truly honored to have their presence with us here today. Special mention to the head table, President of Concacaf, Mr. Victor Montagliani, GFA's President, Mr. Marlon Glean, CEO of Grenada Tourism Authority, Ms. Petra Roche, Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Adrian Thomas. Joining Mr. Montagliani are key representatives of Concacaf who play a pivotal role in the continued success and development across the region. Ms. Nadia Marcado, Senior Manager in the Office of the President, Mr. Horace Reed, Director of the Caribbean Office, Mr. Howard McIntosh, Director of the Caribbean Member Association Affairs, Ms. Sophia Malitiza, Senior Manager, Member Associations, Mr. Alvaro Portillo, Director of Communications, Ms. Carol Portillo, let me take that over, Mr. Alvaro Urrutia, Director of Communications, Ms. Carol Portillo, Executive Assistant. We are equally honored to have in our midst government officials, also the Executive Committee of the Grenada Football Association, our Technical Director, Mr. Alistair Fleming, the GFA General Secretary, Mr. Carl Lee, and other members of staff. With us today as well are the media representatives. We are very happy to have you all here today. This event is a very significant occasion as we have the distinct honor of welcoming Mr. Victor Montagliani on his first official visit to Grenada. Mr. Montagliani, this visit not only signals your commitment to football in the region, but we hope that this chapter will be filled with many more opportunities and collaboration for Grenada within the wider Concacaf family. We are also very hopeful that it will foster greater interest and support from other stakeholders to support sports tourism and to also encourage other investors to assist in developing football in Grenada. Because as we see over the years, the opportunities that football gave to our footballers, right? And we also know that with continued support, that much more can be done. I would also like to extend an apology to the Minister of Sports, Honorable Delma Thomas, who is at another event and would be with us shortly. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Tourism, Ms. Desiree Stevens, would also be joining us shortly. As we go quickly into today's proceedings, I will now invite the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Adrian Thomas, to give some brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and good evening to everybody. With protocol already being established, please permit me to recognize the President of Concacaf, Mr. Victor. I would not butcher the surname, and I would not attempt to. Also, let me recognize Mr. Glean, Marlon Glean, GFA President, and my dear CEO, Chief Executive Officer from the Grenada Tourism Authority. GFA Executive, correct? Correct, right? All right, executive members, it's a pleasure to be in your midst. And our good friends accompanying the president, we are very happy to have you. First of all, let me say heartfelt welcome to Grenada. And many people coming to Grenada for the very first time will always come back sooner or later. And those who came second, third, you will always have a foot. And we welcome you to the Isles of Spice, Pure Grenada, the Isles of the Spice of the Caribbean. The CEO will not forgive me for butchering that either. So, as Minister for Tourism, we clearly understand the synergy between tourism and sports. And it's something that we always support within the Ministry of Tourism. So I being here today is not an invitation by accident. I think Marlon Glean went out of his way to make sure that the Minister for Tourism is here. And we, as a government, we do recognize the importance of having tourism. But having said that, we also recognize the importance of football. And as a young man growing up, all I knew was football and cricket. I didn't make it that far in football. Got my ankle damaged very early in my career, so I didn't go on to play for Chelsea. But I played a lot of cricket. And as young men growing up, I know the kind of opportunities that footballers had in Grenada throughout the Caribbean. And really and truly, many times they had to leave their homeland to travel outside. But today I believe that the football is recognized in many of the islands within the Caribbean. We have a lot of star players. We have people going on to play international football and play in international leagues. And therefore, your presence here today is very, very important. And I think it shows that the international community is looking at Grenada. We are very happy for that. And when we have visitors of that caliber, we know that Grenada is no longer just a dot on the map. We are a nation where we can produce footballers and supply the international communities, but most of all, supply our own country with star players. I also want to pay attention to the potential and make the point that tourism, sports tourism, can contribute significantly to the GDP of our country. We recognize that, hence the reason why this government and previous administrations have invested heavily in the infrastructure, although we have a very long way to go, and I know when the president comes to make his brief remarks, he will call on the government to do a little more, but we're gonna surely get there at some point in time. We are trying our best. Our government pledged to support sports in Grenada. Presently, the minister, and I would like to put on table an apology for her, she's attending to a function where we are welcoming home all our character athletes who did so well in the games in Trinidad and Tobago, and she has, thank you very much, and she has chosen to stay with them and spend some time, some quality time with them, because really and truly they deserve it. But her heart and soul is with the footballers also, and she has asked me to extend regards. So once again, I thank you very much for choosing Grenada at this point in time. I heard that you'll be spending 8 hours, but I hope that 8 hours will be in euros or US and not EC, so you could extend that. But once again, I say thanks for coming, and I look forward to you being here more often. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas, for your remarks. So as we know, Concacaf has continued to support the Grenada Football Association with their development projects to help improve football in Grenada. So at this moment, we would call on Mr. Victor Montagliani, President of Concacaf, to give us some insights into Concacaf, what they do, and of course, their vision for the region, and also specifically for Grenada as well. Mr. Montagliani.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everyone. Minister, the visit might be 8 hours, but it's the quality. And by the end of this visit, you will pronounce my last name perfectly, trust me. Brava. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be back in Grenada. It is a special place, not just because of your Spice Island, but it's also a special place because of your football. You've had footballers, very good footballers, come from here. One actually has the distinguished pleasure of working at Concacaf, our Chief of Development, none other than Jason Roberts. So obviously, you know, that's at the top end of it. I will not tell him you clap, trust me. But also, you know, your president. I have known President Glean, and I'll call him Martin because he's a dear friend, for a long time. I knew him as a young FIFA development officer, who I had the privilege of. He would call me on a weekly basis, and we have good chats about football. So the one thing that I love that Grenada now that has is your president's a real football guy. He even whacks people in our President's Cups at congresses. Our last Congress, he went right through a player from the opposing team who happened to be the U.S. manager, but that's okay, Marlon. But listen, I think that's, and I say that important because at Concacaf we have a philosophy, and our philosophy is football first. And what I mean by that is that every decision you make, I'm looking at the executive committee here, has to be made because of the game. Not because of a constituency, not because of a club, not because of a parish. It has to be made because it has to benefit the game. And what makes me happy about that is because your president is a footballer, right? He's a football man. He understands that. And that's important when you make those decisions. So I know that Grenada is in good hands from that perspective. We all know there's a lot of work to do and a lot of work to come. And there will be challenges. We all know what they are, whether it's, you know, finding more revenue, whether it's, you know, getting success on the field, whether it's expanding your capacities as an organization from a human talent standpoint and your capacities administratively. Those are all things that Concacaf is helping, whether it's through our EMP program led by Horace and Howard, our executive mentorship program, whether it's our One Concacaf Fund helping through the development, and whether it's the sort of the proliferation of our competitions and expanding our competitions. And, you know, we're also here to be partners with the stakeholders, partners with government, partners with ministries like tourism. Petra, I'm sorry about your Arsenal losing in the Champions League, by the way. I'll just throw that in there while we're at it. You know, you know, it struck me when I walked in here, the irony of having the Earth and the galaxy of stars in this room. And I think, because I think there's two things that we, as football leaders, and let's not make a mistake, we're all football leaders. It's not just the president of Concacaf or the president of the Grenada Football Association. It's every one of us that's in the game. You have to make a decision every day as a leader in this sport to look around you and do everything you can to help, to lead by service, to lead by example. And because at the end of the day, what is in front of you is exactly that, the opportunity at a global level. And Grenada has that opportunity. Yes, you might not be, you know, 300 million people like some countries, but you have that opportunity. You showed it in players that come out of here. I mean, Marta and I were speaking on the way here about some of the talent that has been identified that are playing in academies in professional clubs. You have leagues here, but you have to set standards. We've talked about it many times, Marta and I, about setting standards at a league level, club licensing, coach education. Those are all things that ultimately will propel the game. And you have an opportunity. Obviously, World Cup qualifying is around the corner. You get a couple of results, you can find yourself in the final round. Those are inspirational things. Obviously, from a governor perspective, obviously we're always looking to partner with governments, whether it's at a federation level or confederation level. But some of the things that I think we can do is from an infrastructure standpoint, ensure that the infrastructure that is there is always there at a top level, and obviously through our funding and through FIFA Forward, trying to expand on our infrastructure build at every federation level. But without further ado, I just want to say thank you again for welcoming me to Grenada. I look forward to this evening. I look forward to tomorrow in our meetings and having a look at obviously the office and sort of just the vibe of football on this beautiful island. And again, I thank you for your very warm welcome, and it's a real pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Montagliani. So I will make a very bold statement, and I know many of you will definitely agree with me. And this is not to take away from the work that is done by anybody in this room. So our next speaker represents commitment, reliability, and most importantly, a desire to support the GFA, no matter what we call them for, when we call them, how we call them. They're always ready and willing to show up and show out. And we are very grateful to have the support from that organization. And sitting right next to me here is our next esteemed speaker, Ms. Petra Roach, the CEO of Grenada Tourism Authority. And I would invite her here today to just give some insights into branding and the support for the GFA through the GTA and many other things. I know she has a lot to say. But I would invite her here to just give some more insight, into the GFA and anything else she has to offer. Ms. Roach?
Wow, that's a heavy responsibility. I think the fact that Minister and myself have been invited here this evening says a lot. It truly is the understanding of the role that sports tourism can play in terms of not only economic development, but certainly in terms of people development. And I must say that the GFA, under the leadership, the guidance of President Glean, has taken a very active role in our tourism direction. Marlon also happens to sit on the board of directors for the Grenada Tourism Authority, and he's also the chairman of the sports subcommittee. So again, we've seen a massive increase in the number of tours that we've had coming into Grenada, and also an increase in the number of tours for the team going across the world to really improve their skills and get, immersed in that network of the football space. What I would say to you is that football is representative of 40% of sports tourism annually, and the sports tourism market represents $600 billion. So you can see the important role that it has to play. It's approximately 10% of all international arrivals, so we take it really seriously. And the infrastructural development that has gone on, we need to thank Concacaf, because without funding, the government can't take on this role on its own. And again, the focus on the grassroots. Football is one of those games that you can play without having a cent. In spite of growing up poor, you can you can run barefooted with a ball, or you can make your own ball. And I really feel that you can see the difference that the grassroots football development program has made, and also the inclusivity, the women bringing diversity into the sport. And these things are things that we shouldn't take for granted. To be passionate and committed and dedicated to a sport helps us to become better people. And therefore, having strong representation in the leadership of the committee, of the team members and president does a lot for Grenada as a country and for our people and where they're going. So I want to say a big thank you for allowing me to sit at the head table, for bringing tourism into your space, for recognising that it can be a catalyst to a lot more. And certainly we lend our commitment at the Grenada Tourism Authority to continue to play our part, irrespective of how small or how big, to make sure that Grenada continues to excel on the world stage. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roach. So our next speaker would be Mr. Marlon Glean, President of the Grenada Football Association. But before I officially invite him to come here and stand, and Mr. Glean, please forgive me, all right? You know, sometimes Mr. Glean comes to the office quite regularly. And to be honest, sometimes when he comes in, I say, oh Lord, Mr. Glean, come in. Again. Because every time he comes to the office, you know, he wants to meet, he has so many ideas. And I sat back and, you know, I came to the realization that it's only because of passion and commitment and the dedication. And it's amazing when you have somebody who really wants the best for footballers in Grenada, somebody who, you know, would spare no dollar, would you know, would argue and fuss and you know, express frustration whenever we don't get the support or something doesn't happen. And I remember at our last ceremony at the GFA, the handing over ceremony, I remember one of the questions the media person asked is if you're satisfied where football is today. And he said no, and I was like, Mr. Glean, crazy, with so much been going on since Mr. Glean came, how can he not be satisfied? But then again, of course, if you have this like really you know, amount of passion for football, you would always want to see things grow. You would, you know, eat football, sleep football, you know, live football, and that's what Mr. Glean really represents. And we're really grateful to have somebody as Mr. Glean leading the organization and taking football, you know, forward. And of course, if it was left up to myself, he would have been there, you know, for a very long time. But of course, it's not for me to decide. But I really wish him, you know, continued success as an individual standing here, and of course, by extension, the GFA. And I would invite him here officially now, because I know he has a lot to say, but Mr. Glean, I would put you on spot. It would be very brief. Yes, so Mr. Glean, yes, Mr. Glean, welcome, and I present you to give some very brief remarks. You know, in terms of our strategic goals, maybe some of the projects we have going now, and you know, where probably we see football in the next, in the future.
Thank you, Renee. Honorable Ministers of Tourism, Mr. Adrian Thomas, President of Concacaf, Mr. Victor Montagliani, CEO of the Board of Tourism, Ms. Petra Roach, executive members of the GFA and staff of the GFA, and members of the visiting team of Concacaf. Good evening and welcome. So, you know, Renee made mention about a short speech because there's a running joke in the office that sometimes I talk too much. So I'm actually going to keep it brief. But we're honored to have the presence of Victor and Concacaf here today. As Victor said, we go way back, and lots of conversations about football. And I beat him up on the pitch sometimes. That's why he made mention of what happens during those congresses, etc. Because sometimes I actually take advantage of it. So it's good to have the team from Concacaf here to pay us a courtesy call, talk the business of football, and learn from us as to what we're aspiring to do as a football association. Rennie mentioned that in an interview yesterday, I was asked as to the state of football in Grenada and if I was satisfied with where we are today. And I said no. And I'm not satisfied because Grenada is still 174 in the world, which is unacceptable. And I'm not satisfied because we haven't been able to get our national teams winning like we used to. You know, when I was a kid, Grenada was probably top 3, top 5 in the Caribbean. A matter of fact, in 2011, Grenada was ranked 88 in the world. In 2024, 2025, Grenada is ranked 174. And it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable because we don't just show up and participate. We have a history of football in Grenada. I hear stories from the 60s and 70s before my time. But in my time, as a kid watching football in the 80s and 90s, and then being part of national teams in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, I know we've really slid down the ladder a very, very long way. And we have to fix it. And we cannot fix it by just talking football. We cannot fix it by just showing up and participating in Concacaf Nations League and in World Cup qualifying. So we have to invest in football. Our kids need to be playing more football. And until we don't get our kids playing more football, we're not going to improve on our football. Grenada is a football country. I know in recent time we've got success in track and field. I know in recent times, you know, we have tours from cricket. Australia is coming here in July. But if you look around Grenada, Grenada is a football country. There are more kids playing football than any other sport in Grenada by about 10 times, maybe 20 times. There are more football being played in Grenada than any other sport. So we have to find a way to get back to our winning ways. We have to find a way to climb from 174 and get back into the top 100 again. So we launched the National Grassroots Program last year. And our plan was to get to about 4,000 kids. We got to somewhere around 2005 or 2,500 kids or so, and I was not pleased. So we're back at the drawing board and we're about to relaunch the National Grassroots Program. And our plan is to get between 4,000 and 5,000 kids playing football every Saturday in Grenada. And then we just launched the TDS program, the Talent Development Scheme, where we expect our best 12 to 16-year-olds playing football at least 5 or 6 times a week. So right now, the parish academies are up and running. And these kids are playing football daily in Guave and in Victoria and in St. Patrick's and in St. Andrew and in St. George's and in Carriacou. And we cannot stop there. Just today we got news that FIFA is going to be sending us a talent coach by July. And that person is going to come here for a 2-year period and work with a pool of players, our best 12 to 16 years olds. That would be our under 14 national team, our under 15 national team, and our under 17 national team. And they're going to work every day of the week for the next 2 years. And if we continue to invest in youth and young people, we're going to get development. And we're about to start also, or restart the primary school football after many years' absence. We have lost a generation of kids because we eliminated primary school football many years ago. So we must get primary school football back on the agenda. So we've actually hired someone specifically to lead the re-inauguration of primary school football in Grenada. And we expect in September, every primary school in Grenada is going to be participating in a competition. So when they get to secondary school, they're not playing football for the very first time. When they get to secondary school, there will already be stars coming out of the primary schools into secondary schools. And immediately, they'll be making impact on the various secondary schools. Victor would tell you, he's from Canada. In Canada, in America, and most of the developed countries in the world, A 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old is probably playing 100 matches a year. In Grenada, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old is not playing any competition. And we have to fix it. Because we cannot sit here and talk about qualifying for the World Cup. We cannot sit here and talk about competing against Canada, USA, Mexico, because they're all part of our region. They're all part of our confederation. We cannot compete unless or until our kids start playing more football, because we have to be good at youth football before we can get good at senior football. And we cannot sit here and depend totally on the diaspora. Yes, we're going to use players from the diaspora because they're Grenadians. We have to use them. And a lot of them are playing professionally at good clubs in the UK, etc. So we must use them. But we cannot depend totally on the diaspora. We have to be able to have our homegrown players come through, get opportunities, and represent the country. So we must invest in football. And Mr. Minister, and to the government of Grenada, we need your support. Every time we have to play a match in Grenada, we're under the gun with the stadium authority. Every time. The last 2 matches, we were fined by Concacaf $10,000. And the next time, we were at their mercy, begging for forgiveness and begging that it would not happen again. And then 3 days ago, we visited the stadium. And after 2 consecutive weekends of partying at the stadium, the pitch is a mess again. And we were seriously contemplating moving the match from Grenada to somewhere else. Somewhere where they treat football with a little bit more respect. Somewhere where there are better pitches. But we sat with the stadium authority, and they assured us that they're going to work every day for the next 15 days, and the pitch is going to come back. Now, when that fine come from Victor,
Well, you know what? Maybe I find the government this time.
when that fine comes from Concacaf and from FIFA, because World Cup qualifying, we hope that government is going to be there with us. But we're hopeful. So now we've actually agreed to play the match here. We play against Bahamas on June 4th. But right before that, we have Anguilla in a friendly on May 31st. And we're hopeful that we can have at least a good surface for national teams. Because in recent times, we've had so much interest from quality players playing abroad. We've been speaking with 2 players from Tottenham, 1 from Manchester United, 1 from Brighton, 1 from Crystal Palace, 1 from Fulham, 1 from Chelsea. These are players, and one who's playing in Belgium, who has a famous father who played in the World Cup. And these players are hoping to play in June. But we cannot have a bad pitch and invite a player from Chelsea or Man United or Brighton to come to Grenada. We can't. Because if they come one time and the pitch is not good, they're not going to come back. So we cannot advance our football if we have a poor facility, a poor pitch. So, Mr. Minister, I know you're not the Minister of Sports, but I'm hoping that at some point you can have some sort of conversation with your colleagues so that they can give us some more support. Thank you very much. And I'll be brief. And, you know, we've started a journey. We've started a project. And that is to take Grenada football from where it is to at least bring it at the forefront of not just the Caribbean, not just Concacaf, but of the world. So we made an appearance in Russia recently, not just to participate. We actually went there to compete. We actually went to Russia thinking that we can get a result. And we actually went to Russia with an actually fully local team, with kids that never played football in the cold before, with kids that never played in snow before. And we came out of there 5-0. But you know what happened? we got the respect of the football world. So now countries are calling. And in October, in November, we have Liechtenstein and we have Latvia. And we just got a call that a super team wants to play us in October, on October 14. And now teams are calling because, you know, before we were 174 in the world. And everybody looks at the list to see who they're going to play. And they don't even look at us because we're 174. But we showed up in Russia and showed people we can compete. And now people actually want to play. So we need to be playing more games on the international stage so people can actually see what we have. Grenada has always been a team that can compete within the world. And we want to showcase that. And we want to continue to put our football in front of the world, not just in front of the Windward Islands or the OECS or the Caribbean. We need to start putting Grenada football in front of the world. And that's what we're going to do. And that's what we've been doing over the last 2 years. Bit by bit, we've been building from grassroots, youth development, there's more competition. We've increased the prize monies to our league. The winning team in the Premier League today gets $100,000. A jump by 100%. Because we believe clubs need more incentives so that they can perform better. And what we've seen, a Premier League that went down to the line last year. At some point, we had a team that won. At some point, any of about 5 teams could have come second because they were playing for $60,000. So we've been putting more and more incentives in the football. Yesterday, we got a gift from the England FA of a bunch of balls that every club is going to get balls prior to the start of the season in 2 weeks. And we want to provide more and more support for clubs and our players. We're continuing to resume the club support program. Every club in Grenada is going to get $20,000 this year. Every club. No matter if you're Premier League, First Division, or Second Division, every club gets $20,000. That is an agreement we had with the club that we're going to continue to provide support. Because in Grenada today, most of the clubs do not get sponsored. We must admit that the GFA is not the most, or was not the most attractive investment. So we did not get companies coming on board to support our clubs, to support our national teams. But finally, we're actually seeing more and more organizations want to get involved with us. Yesterday, we had a meeting with one of our major water companies. And they've pledged to provide more support to Grenada. We're having more and more conversations with Corporate Grenada. And more are coming on board because they're actually seeing that our project is starting to bear fruit. And I'm certain in the next couple months, you will see improvements in our Concacaf under 15 boys. You see improvements in our women's team as they get ready for Nations League. And you'll see improvement in our senior team. Our girls program is starting to bear fruits. We have presently about 14 girls on scholarships in the US. These are homegrown girls who are actually playing in the US. Most of them supported financially by us, the GFA. Most of these girls are not good enough to get full scholarships, so we subsidize them from the GFA. And we continue to provide support to all of our kids who actually go to college and try to get an education so that they can take care of themselves. And Project GFA is going to be memorable. In the next couple months, we're going to be everywhere. You're going to see us everywhere. Every time you put on your TV or you listen to the radio, you're going to see some program or project happening in the GFA. And we're going to continue to grow the game. We're going to continue to make Concacaf proud. We're going to continue to make Grenada proud. Because sports, as Petra, as the minister said, sports is not just a game anymore. Sports and football is big business. And we have to be able to invest so that our young people, our boys and girls across Grenada, our communities can all benefit from the business of football. Because from time to time you hear about drugs and crime and all the ill effects of things happening in Grenada. But we know if we get this football right, we can take care of so many of these illnesses that are happening in Grenada. From a health standpoint, from a community standpoint, we want to make sure that we can have football in every corner of Grenada. And at the end of the day, Grenada is going to benefit, every community is going to benefit first of all, and then the country is going to benefit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Glean, for your very brief speech. But seriously, with so much good content and information to give, there's no way a speech could be short, right, Mr. Glean? So you're excused for today. So well, we're getting down to the wire. So at this moment, we would do the official handing over or token of appreciation presentation to Mr. Victor Montagliani. Mr. Glean would assist with the presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Glean.
And on behalf of the Concacaf family, which is represented by, as you know very well, our 41 diamonds, Helena being one of them. I guess we're going to put it like that. We're going to flag in there, right? With all our members in the back, thank you very much. And keep up the hard work. And I know, as you hear, there's a lot of challenges. But I know we can get through it. Thank you. Thank you. I know that, I've just met you guys, but I know your heart is in the right place, and I know that all these challenges there's solutions to them, but I thank you very much for the support you give to Grenada Feg, and that you give to the sport that we all love. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Montagliani and Mr. Glean. We are now officially at the end of this evening proceedings. On behalf of the Grenada Football Association, President Marlon Glean, the executive staff, we would like to say a heartfelt thank you to the Grenada Tourism Authority, the Grenada Airports Authority, Ministry of Tourism, the Royal Grenada Police Force, the media, Honorable Adrian Thomas, for making this event a success, for all the support that's been invested into this event. This could not have been possible without you, and we are forever grateful. The event continues tomorrow, please the Lord. One of the things that we would do is a visit to our technical center in Simone, where Mr. Montagliani and the delegation would get to see where our technical center would be constructed. Fingers crossed, if all goes well, we're hoping to break ground in June, and I know Mr. Glean would want that to happen very much, and we would want that to happen as well. All right, so thank you very much to everyone for coming out and being a part of this event. We would also have an official photo opportunity, and that's it. I don't think I missed anything. Thank you very much.